Hey guys, today I'm going to walk you through the tutorial on how to use counting techniques to determine probabilities. Just like normal, we're going to kind of skip over these first couple slides. Here's the introduction. This just describes one instance where we actually use probability in the real world, which is in jury selection. Ideally, according to law, you should have a jury free from bias. And so they look at probabilities to try to figure out if juries are biased or not. This link here takes you to a story about a case which you are welcome to read on your own. Basically, the defendant and the victims of the murder trial were all African Americans, and the jury consisted of no African Americans because they dismissed the only African American juror. So if you want to read that, you're welcome to. But I'm going to move along here. And then this example that we're going to look at throughout this tutorial is talking about a group of female employees are filing a harassment case against a senior male executive, and so there's going to be a jury to see if there's a case or not. There are 26 men and 29 women to choose from in the jury. There's going to be 12 people in the jury, and then the jury they came up with had 10 men and 2 women. So the question is going to be, is that fair or not? And so here we're going to use combinations to try to find the probability. Here is a link to the knowledge article. Now we need a lot of stuff in this knowledge article. I did a separate video using something called a LiveScribe pen that talks through all of this. So if you have not watched that yet, you need to make sure that you stop watching this video and go watch that one, okay? Because I was trying to keep things short so you could do the knowledge article on like one day, say, and then do this one on another. But you need to watch the other video. And then we're going to jump into the activity. So here, we are going to try to figure out in question number 1, what is the number of possible combinations of 10 men chosen from the 26 men in the juror pool. And we're going to use something called a combination. A combination is how many different possibilities we have when order doesn't matter. When you're picking people from a jury, it doesn't matter what order you pick them in, they're still going to be on the jury. And so we're going to use this form, N choose R. Okay, if you want to get real fancy, you can use a subscript. But N stands for the total number of options. And then R stands for the number that we're choosing. So here we're choosing 10. So again, making it fancy. You don't have to do that, but the correct answer here is going to be 26, choose 10. Okay, that's going to be how many ways we can pick those 10 men. And remember, like I said, if you wanted to work that out, in the other video I said you can use your calculator, which we will be doing later. Using symbols, what's the number of combinations of 2 women chosen from 29 women? So the total number is 29. Choose. That's what that rotation looks like. Using symbols, how many combinations of 10 men and 2 women are possible? So what we're going to do is take our answer from that first problem, which I'm just going to copy. I could put it in parentheses just so that I know that it's separate. Oh, well, okay. I just undid that, but we're going to go ahead and go with that. 26, choose 10. And then the other one was 29, choose 2. Basically multiply these 2 answers that we had. And that's what they have right here. 26, choose 10 times 29, choose 2. What is the numerical probability of selecting a jury with 10 men and 2 women? Remember, to find probability, you need to divide the number of ways it could happen, so the number of favorable events, divided by the total number of combinations. Now, the total number of favorable events is this right here. And that's the total number of ways that we can come up with 10 men and 2 women. But we need to divide that, so I'm going to do underline. And then I need to come up with the total number of ways that I could have people. Now, if there's 26 men and 29 women, that means there are 55 people total. So this would be 55, I'm choosing 12 of them. Okay, so I know that doesn't look super mathematical there, but when I click on this, that's what it is. Oh, we have to work it out. Okay, we're going to come back and we're going to work it out. But just to show you, this is what I have typed right here. Okay, 26 choose 10 times 29 choose 2 over 55 choose 12. Now, if you look at all this work, they're working out the formula, which you're welcome to do, but that is a lot of work. Okay, but we have our handy dandy calculators. So in your calculator, I would start by hitting math, and then I'm going to arrow over to PRB, and I want to choose number 3 now. I just realized I need to put the 26 first. So 26 math, PRB, number 3. So 26, choose 10. And then I'm going to multiply that by, in parentheses, 29, choose 2. Okay. And then I'm going to divide that. You'll notice this is a big number. By, in parentheses, 55, choose 12. Okay, and we get a probability of about 0.0049, or we can round that to 0.005, or you could say that that is 0.5%. And that's what they ended up getting down here. So we're going to use our calculator to do all of this, so you don't need to worry about writing down all those big numbers. Do you think that this jury composition raises a suspicion of bias? I'm going to go with yes, because there's only a 0.5% chance that you could actually come up with that using random selection. So I'm going to say yes because of the low percentage, or the low probability. Okay. Which is what they're basically saying here. It's just so small. Okay. What is the numerical probability that a randomly selected jury consists of 8 men and 4 women? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is come up with how to find 8 men. Okay, so if you remember, there are 26 men total, and we are choosing 8 of them. Okay. And we have to multiply that by the number of ways to choose 4 women now. So it'll be 29, choose 4. And so this right here, this is the total number of possibilities that we could come up with for 8 men and 4 women. That's the total number. But to get the probability, what we're going to have to do is divide all of that. Not all that. So I'll just say divided by, and remember the total number of possibilities is 5, choose 12. Okay? And again, in your calculator, you would work this out, times this, and then divide it by that, and it'll give you a probability of about 0.085. Okay, so that's about 8.5%, which is much more likely than the 0.5% we got up higher. Number 7, what's the numerical probability that all of the jury members would be women? Well, so then we wouldn't even have this 26 choose something because we didn't pick any men. So the numerator would just be 29 choose 29 choose 12, because we would have 12 women. Okay, that would be our numerator. And then we're dividing that by the total number of ways to choose 12 people, which is 55 choose 12. Again, this is going to be a calculator problem to work out. Whenever you're doing this, just make sure you put parentheses. I'll even do that up here so that we remember when I'll screw that up. So when you're putting this in your calculator, you want to make sure you put parentheses around each of those, just so that it calculates it out correctly. Okay, so it's a 0.00012 probability, which is a 0.012% chance of that being random. What is the probability? So that's that scenario. This one is 6 men and 6 women. So what I'm going to do, what happened to all my work? It like all disappeared. Okay, there we go. Maybe not. Okay, because I'm going to try to save a little bit of time here. And I'm going to take my answer from the 8 men and 4 women. And now I want to choose 6 men and 6 women. Okay, so my numerator would be 26 choose 6 times 29 choose 6. That would be the total number of ways to pick 6 men and 6 women divided by 55 choose 12. Again, that's going to be our handy dandy calculator working that out for us. And we get 0.249, which is about 24.9%. Do any of these, so this last question here, do any of them raise concerns about bias? I would say definitely. This one right here, the 6 men, 6 women, not so much. You get like a 25% chance of getting that. This one you only have a 0.012 to get the 12 women. And then up here you have 8.5% chance of getting 8 men and 4 women. So of these, the 12 women would be the most concerning. That is a really low probability. Okay, so that's the smallest one of all of them. We of course did a 5 on this one. And then I'm going to move on now to slide number 8. This is a question. We've actually answered this question many times in the previous activity. In how many ways can 12 people be chosen from a group of 55? Well, that is 55 choose 12, which is right here. The bigger number should be first because that's the total number of options. These next couple slides just kind of review a little bit. This kind of reviews some of the math that we did. Probability number of favorable outcomes over the total number of outcomes, and so on. So you're free to read through those, but it's just reviewing a lot of the math that we had already done. So we are now on slide 13, and again, this is just saying that trying to prevent jury bias is important so that everybody has a fair trial. But we don't need that for what we're doing. Now, let's consider I wanted to know the probability of getting a jury with 7 or 8 women. These are what we call mutually exclusive events, because if you have exactly 7 women, you cannot also have exactly 8 women. So if I wanted to know that overall probability, I'm going to bring in the addition rule from a couple sections ago, and we're going to find the 2 individual probabilities and then add them up. So here, I want to know, that's what we want to answer, the probability of a 12-person jury having 7 women or 8 women. So in order to figure this out, they are mutually exclusive events. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to find the probability of 7 women and then add that to the probability of 8 women. So we're going to find the 2 probabilities individually and then add them together. Now for the probability of 7 women, well, if there's 7 women, that means that there are 5 men, right? And so if you remember, there were 26 men to start with. That would be 26 choose 5. And then there were 29 women to start with. So we're going to do 29 choose, what is this now, 7. Okay? And then we have to get the probability, I have to divide by the total number of ways to get that, which is 55 choose 12. Okay? And so that's how I figure out the probability of 7. Now I'm going to try to be a little efficient here. And to figure out the probability of 8 women, well, if there are 8 women, that means that there are 4 men. If there are 8, well, I'm sorry, this is women, so this needs to be 8. The 55 choose 12, that isn't going to change. Okay? And again, these are calculator problems, and so as you work them out, for the probability of 7, you get 0.234. And then for the probability of 8, when you work that out in your handy dandy calculator, you get 0.146. And now to get that overall probability, you are going to have to add those two together. 0.234 plus 0.146. Okay, and when you do that, you should end up getting 0.38 for the overall probability. Or you could say 38%. So you have a 38% chance of getting 7 or 8 women on that jury. Okay? For question number 2, what is the probability that a jury chosen at random has at least 10 men? So the probability of at least 10 men, we have to think about all the ways that that could happen. Well, if we had 10 men, that would satisfy at least 10 men. Or we could also have 11 men. Or we could have, I keep missing the plus sign, 12 men. Okay, and those are the 3 different ways that I can have a jury that has at least 10 men. So that means 10, 11, or 12. So we have to figure out these 3 individual probabilities. So the probability of 10 would be, I would first of all have to figure out how to choose those 10 men. There are 26 men to choose from, and I'm choosing 10 of them. But we can't forget about the women. There are 29 women to choose from. And if I'm choosing 10 men, that means I'm choosing 2 women. Okay. And then again, I'm dividing by that 55. Choose 12. Because that is the total number of ways to randomly choose 12 people. Okay. So this is a probability for 10. I'm gonna, do a little bit of trickery here to figure out the other probabilities. For 11, that would be 26 choose 11, but now I am only choosing 1 woman. The 55 choose 12 is going to stay. And then I have the probability of 12, which means I'm choosing 12 men, but I'm not choosing any women actually, so I'm going to get rid of that. I mean, if you wanted, you could make that probability of 29 choose 0. That wouldn't affect your outcome at all. Because that would just be 1. There's only 1 way to choose no women. But I'll just delete it. Okay. And then to figure out these individual probabilities, again, you use your calculator. The probability of 10 men would be 0.002. I'm sorry, 0.005. We actually figured this out in the last activity. The probability of 11 men would be 0.0005. And then the probability of 12 men would be 0.00002. And then to figure out the total probability of at least 10 men, you would add them all up. I'll actually do that just right up here. And when I do that, I'm going to get 0.0055. Which will give me, let me make sure that's all right, 0.00552, so about 0.552%. Okay? So if you have any question like that, where at least there's multiple possibilities, 7 or 8 women, at least 10 men, you're going to have to find the individual probabilities and add them up. 5, cool star for us. Okay, and so this just talks about some of the other times when you use probability. Educational testing is one of them, standardized tests, if you've ever taken a standardized test, which I know you have. A lot of those questions are called field test questions, so they use those to get data, or they have multiple versions. Biology is all about probability, genetics. So if you're interested in that, you can read that and find some other ways probabilities are used. And then finally, we have a summary of just basically what we did. And let's get our gold star for the tutorial. Okay. And so that is this one. If you have any questions, let me know.